Dice are rolling, darkness falls. Inside the GM Studios halls. Tabletop games where nightmares creep. In a realm where sanity is lost and weak. Welcome to the abyss where dreams shatter. Inside the GM studio, nothing else matters. Blood and chaos, the dark arts unfold. In the realm of role-playing, where legends are told.
And welcome back to the side question episode of Inside the GM Studio, where we field questions from the internet on the roll of a die. I am your host, David.
I'm Matt.
All right, let's get right into it. See what the internet has for us today on a... Ooh, crit fumble. I get a 1.
Stupid bastard. Okay. This
Okay.
one comes from Formal Simple 1640 on our Ask Game Masters with the title, should you have a long introduction before the player character appears? I want to start my one-shot with a relatively long introduction to introduce the players to the characters they might meet in the locations in the location and to create intrigue. I'm a little concerned that this format might shift the focus from the player's actions to the given plot and might just be boring. Any tips how to avoid these problems?
We haven't had one of these in a while. And I'm just going to say it. Don't do that. Do not do that. Your instincts that it's going to be boring, that it's going to shift focus away from the players and their actions are
Especially in a one-shot.
Yeah, especially in a one-shot. It is so imperative in a one-shot that you just get right into the action. Start your scene as late as possible, as absolutely late as possible as you can. Like, I'm talking like literally in the middle of a battle would be appropriate, in a one-shot. I don't know where he or she got the idea that this would be a good idea. One-shots tend to... I don't know who these people are that play one-shots. They must be people that play like 8 or 10 hours at a time. But it is... I'm hard-pressed to...
Because when I play one-shots, we play for maybe 4 or 5 hours.
And you literally get through everything.
Oh, yeah, I'm never running them. I always play in them.
I'm hard-pressed to think of a scenario where you would be able to run something in a 4 or 5 hour span that is anything other than just the most pared back of quests. But frequently, questioners have mentioned that they basically just way overestimate how much stuff they can put in a one shot.
Yeah, big time.
And it seems like he's like, oh, I want to have like this, like, long whatever. Like if you're here's a general rule of thumb. If you find yourself using the descriptor long for anything that's happening in your game, it is probably boring. It is almost certainly boring. And I mean even things that are exciting. A long battle. Yep, a long battle is a boring battle. Because what you mean by long is...
Yeah, I was going to ask the question, it's just like, I'd like to ask this person, how long is relatively long? They say in the thing they're relatively long. And it's like, if you say that you just think it's going to be long, guess what? It's long. And you don't want it.
Yeah. That's what I mean, it's what I'm getting at, is it's like, we only characterize things as longer than we would like them to be, or longer than we think others would like them to be. Like a movie. Oh, that was a long movie. It's like, you just mean it's longer than you would like it. You mean you wished that it was shorter. That's what you mean by saying it's long.
Yeah.
And so if he thinks it's long, or he suspects that his players might think it's long, then he's right already. And I would posit what does he thinks what does he or she think that they are gaining by um by having such a protracted intro, because it doesn't seem he's like, oh, get them invested in the NPCs. It's like, yeah, but it should, especially for a one shot, the benefit of an NPC is that it is someone, a character that's going to recur, and you might build a relationship with as the player character. I can see having a one shot have like virtually no NPCs, a quest giver and bad guys, and that's
Mhm.
about it. So what is it that they think they're getting by having this protracted intro, other than just losing time in their session?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so I don't know, I can't even envision, or as a thought experiment, imagine what it would be that would be so important that he would need to, especially because if it requires that much exposition, you know what, it means that your plot is too convoluted for a one shot.
Yeah.
Almost certainly it's too convoluted, because if you need to explain a bunch of stuff instead of just showing the players what's going to happen, then it's too complicated. One shots by their definition are not supposed to be complicated, and this is the reason that most of us gravitate toward more long form campaigns, because longer form campaigns have more complexity and nuance, and
Hmm.
those things are fun. Things that are too pared back and too simple can get boring pretty easily. So I mean, I don't know. Do you have anything that actually addresses the substance of the question as to like how would he go about making this? I don't really have a good sense of what it is he's talking about, like doing, other than it's just going to be long and focused more on the NPCs.
Yeah. So I have some thoughts that I would use being a con GM, a GM that has played at many conventions. Uh,
Sure.
that's what we do at conventions are one shots. And one of the best tools I've ever used while I was at a convention was the handout that shows your NPCs that you're going to run across. If you need to know who they are, guess what? This handout has them all right there. This faction that you're going to be working alongside, guess what? All the information's right there on the handout. Don't worry about it. We're not going to get into it. We're going to get right into the adventure. So don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But if you want to know more about this, whenever I bring this up, you can always look at this handout and refer to, what you need. Um, Other than that, yeah, trying to one shots are not like David said. It's not for. There's not a lot of substance to put into a one shot. This is here for you to either learn the system, have some quick, dirty fun, or you're trying out something new. Either way, it's not for you to invest into the story that's going on in this next 4 to 5 hour game that you guys are going to have together. So if you really need this information to give to the players for a one shot, yeah, just write it down and give it to them. Otherwise, it's not necessary. I think we had an episode in the main show that we've done before talking about how let the story flesh out your NPCs. You
Yeah.
don't really go too crazy on them. Of course, put down if they have weird quirks and all that shit for your long campaign, and if they have like a discerning, look about them. But other than that, just let it kind of progress through the story in a regular campaign. In a one shot, it doesn't. Nobody gives a fuck. Larry the
Yeah,
bartender.
because
Larry the bartender. He's got a mustache. Woo!
yeah, well, we talked about this with on the episode about creating good NPCs, because frankly, in a one shot, what what the NPCs should be is just they should be something that serves the plot,
Yep.
right? That's it. Like they have to be someone in distress. They have to be a quest giver. They have to be whatever.
Yeah.
And
You
so making
testing out social skills if there's a mechanic for it in the game.
Yeah, yeah, and so they're a guard that protects the front of, they're blockading something that's preventing the PCs or whatever. They don't need more detail than that. And in a one shot, you're actually doing bad characterization by doing that, because one of the worst things you can do is provide too much depth and intrigue for a character that doesn't really serve, who is just like a prop in the plot, right?
Hmm.
Like they're just someone. I always think of the bartender in the first John Wick movie, like that character's like dripping with intrigue and dripping with like personality and history, but the only purpose that she serves is to just like give him the coin or whatever it
Yeah.
is. You know, it's like that's it. That's all. You want more of her, and
Yeah, right.
justifiably so. So you don't want your PCs to crave more interaction with a town guard or a prisoner in the cell with them, right? Because if you do, then it's all a distraction from the narrative of the plot, and you're now with a prologue like that, you're adding rich depth of texture to all the NPCs. So that's going to take some time out of your game, which is already bad. Two, it is going to make the PCs feel like their actions and their goals are secondary to this layer of NPCs. Then, even if you do it well and they're incredibly intrigued, the NPCs are going to warrant curiosity from the players, which will cause them to kind of investigate and interact with them more. And guess what? That's going to eat up time, and it's probably not thematically appropriate. It's probably not even like within the scope of the plot. One shots the need to almost definitionally just be kind of cliched, stereotypical, whatever. I mean, sure, you can give them quirks and some personality, but don't forget that they're just there to push the narrative of the arc of the one session along. And if it's just like, I just can't think of why you would need a prologue for. I mean, hell, I don't even like the whole, like, for a one shot. I don't even like when it's like the characters get a quest, like they get the quest and there's a plot hook. Like, I just like you're here,
Yeah.
and you're doing this already. This is what
you've
you're
been
doing.
told. Yeah, this is what you've traveled out for. This is what you're doing.
Yep.
Go.
And I don't think that for a character that for a character that the player is only going to play for one session, I don't think they're going to mind too much if you rob them of their agency in that particular thing, because they're there to have fun in this one isolated incident, right? It's not like it would be a little like a character that you run over a long campaign is more like a marriage, right? A one shot's like a one night stand. Don't mistake the two. Like, you can get in a lot of trouble by mistaking one for the other. And so I can't. I'd be remiss to think of a single player that would be like, well, but like, I wanted there to be more of my backstory in here, and I wanted there to be more like, interaction with NPCs so that I could build relationships with them. It's like, well, for what purpose?
I know.
You have
and
one
what
plot.
backstory have you created in the last 5 minutes since I gave you your pre-generated character?
Well, we don't know that they're pre-gen characters. I don't think
You're
he
right.
said that.
True that.
But even still, it's like, not to mention who bothers creating a character for a one shot. I mean, some people just really love creating characters,
it's
but
true.
but in general, yeah, you're getting generated characters, like prefab characters, whatever, and so no one's going to care. You're probably not going to have a backstory. I mean, you might have a little bit of a personality, but mostly it's just going to be like, I'm the fighter, I'm big and I'm strong, and I'm the elf, I'm lithe and dexterous, and like that's enough for that scenario. So I'm trying to think of a situation, and it doesn't seem like they really illuminate it better in the question as to what they might be driving at. But if you have an instinct that something is superfluous as a GM, if it seems slightly superfluous to you, then it's definitely superfluous to your players. Like, I learned this just with writing. Like, if I think something is long-winded, it's long-winded. If I think that it's too subtle, it's too subtle. Like, so because you're the best arbiter of what you always see things with better clarity than others see them. And so I would say that probably just go with your gut and eliminate that and get your players into the action as quickly as possible.
Let's go to some of the comments here and see what they have to say. Just because I love this one, Ever Weird, just a very simple no. That was it. That was the whole comment. No. With 2 upvotes. Way to go, dude. The Gilius Says, why do you want to have an introduction for a character they quote might end quote meet at all? Why not just introduce characters when they meet them?
Exactly.
Let's see. I'm the dude 27. Says, I am not sure you understand what a one shot is meant to be. The long exposition introduction is going to remove that much time from your group's playtime. Short intro, get going. One shot is meant to be played ideally in a single session, start to finish. Leave the long exposition for full campaigns. There you go.
Actually, don't ever have long exposition ever. Just have exposition should come up organically, or organically, and so it should never be long info dumps, right?
Mhm.
You like, and so yeah, it's just never appropriate. Like if you're summarizing a whole bunch of stuff because you're shifting gears from one point of the plot to the other, and there's like the party's in like a different location and different stakes, and the beginning of adventure probably requires a little exposition, but um, players want to play characters. They don't want to like listen to stories.
Let's see. XYXOR0RZ says, I drop them in a hot situation, tell them what kind of horrible thing is about to happen to them, and then I might explain how they got there in media res, aka James Bond opening.
Yeah,
That works well for a one
yeah,
shot.
yeah, it does. That's what I'm saying. Is it's like it's the film adage of start a scene as late as possible and early and end it as early as possible. Don't be bothered with the stuff between. And so for a one shot that wants to be really should be very action oriented and should have a few plot points that you're getting to, where does that first plot point hit? What is the first big high drama moment of the adventure? Start in the middle of that moment, not even right prior to that moment. Think, what is the big drama moment? And sometimes the big drama moment might actually be like actually uh before something significant in a plot point, right? Like if you're like a cliffhanger is often that. A cliffhanger
Mhm.
is, you fought your way through this the tower and you're at the top and you can hear noises coming from the other side of the door and it's bizarre and there's strange lights and the plot point is what you find out when you open that door. But it's a great place to end, which is before they open the door because there's intrigue there. So that moment of drama is the intrigue, not the actual thing itself. But for starting, you typically want to start at the moment that gets your players invested, ideally by immediately throwing some choices in their lap in a high stakes situation. And there is a need for exposition in longer campaigns and segueing between one adventure or another, but for one shots, I think it's just wasted time.
I love this one. Patchy Doll says, the only intro I remember specifically because of how good it was when our DM told us very little about the setting and the fancy party that we were expecting, but then opened the first game with us waking up from the rubble of an explosion that just happened during said party. That's the way to
Nice.
do it. That is a good one. Yeah, a
Yeah,
little bit of
it's
exposition about you guys are looking forward to this party. You all wake up in the rubble after an explosion at this party. It's like, holy shit.
yeah, it's like whoa, a little exposition. That's barely exposition. Exposition should be best done through dialogue, sensory detail, and come up organically as the plot progresses, just like the other commenter said. Why would you introduce them to NPCs that they haven't even met yet? Like, and
Right.
they may not even meet. Like, and
Hmm.
moreover, isn't even with it's almost like a metagame prologue. It's a metagame prologue. Like, this character. It's like, well, why would they know them if they haven't met them in the plot yet? They have a history with them. Like, why do the characters need to have so much history for something that is going to get resolved pretty quickly?
Hmm.
Because the whole goal of history, like backstory, character motivations, interpersonal relationships, inter-party conflict or inter-party camaraderie, is that they're all a tool to raise the stakes and push the plot forward. And so those are the motivator. The reason those things are rich writing techniques is that they achieve that goal. But in this situation, they're not likely to because the fuse on the stakes is just too short. Like, it's not, there's no long burn or slow drip or whatever you want to call it. It's just like you're just lighting a short fuse and it, pops off at the end, like one shot. That's the way it needs to be. So I think you're getting a little in love with the potential for some sort of rich world texture that sounds like you probably need to just get a more long form campaign and then figure out how you can disperse this itch you have for exposition in a more kind of spread out way instead of condensing it up at the front.
I agree. And I think that is a wonderful ending point on that because I got nothing to follow up with that. And the rest of these comments are all pretty much saying the exact same thing that we are. They're saying, just don't do that.
Yeah.
For a one shot, bad, not good. You got anything else to end on there, David?
Just that it's not just bad for a one shot, but take this lesson to heart for even longer form campaigns. Like this is no way to do exposition. Like let me tell you, in a long-winded way at the beginning of the thousands of years ago. It's like, no, don't start there. Like, stop it. But other than that, I got nothing.
All right. Well, then we'll leave you all with a good night.
And good luck.